Page Chaf. This is a Farbrengen from Tafshon Chafei, the Yontiv Purim. The Purim Tafshon Hey Sipur Abesenis Benesenu Kvik Dushman Chame Amur is Purim Shas Kaf Kuf Kaf. It's a Malshantiv. Also Malshantiv Teirabir. In Tafshon Hey, which is 1945, the Friedrich Rebbe on Purim spoke about was born 1845, and then the Baal Shem Tov said a teaching, and the teaching goes like this: the Jewish people are called the Megillah Yehudim. There are 6 times where the word Megillah spelled the word Jew, Yehudi, is spelled in Megillah with 2 yuds. Shaleika Ragal Batesh Bechsad Am V'Dim Shkayim Nukmei Yisrael Al Yisrael Shem Yehudim Shekol Keif Mezar Neshachashav Keif Men Chol Terkula. That is Lahepach Dika Yehudi. The Gemara says that the word Yehudi means someone who denies idolatry. Anyone who denies idolatry is tantamount to is in the same level as confirming the entire Torah, acknowledging the whole Torah. So if you deny idolatry, and conversely, by the same token, you're acknowledging the whole Torah at the same time, that makes you be called a Jew, a Yehudi. So that's a different name that the Jewish people are called throughout the Tanakh. In Tanakh, we're called Yisrael, or Bnei Yisrael, and the Megillah, Baal Shem Tov said, we're called Yehudi. Hashem min haYedah, shekasher imin l'mesiras nefesh shel Bnei Yisrael. So Baal Shem Tov said this idea of acknowledging Hashem and denying idolatry is connected with the idea of Mesiras Nefesh. Why are there 2 yuds in the word Yehudi? Because there are 10 powers of the godly soul, and there are 10 powers of the animal soul. So the yud is equal to 10. So the 2 yuds refers to 2 parts of a Jew, the 10 godly soul powers and the 10 animalistic soul powers. That's the name Yehudi. So Yisrael, on the other hand, is associated with Torah, as it says in the Sefer Galamukis that the word Yisrael is an acronym for there's Yesh Shishim Ribu Esater. There's 600,000 letters in the Torah. So every Jew has a letter in the Torah. So Yisrael is about our connection to Torah, I guess. And the Yehudi is about our Mesiras Nefesh. And specifically, it expresses the 20 soul powers that we have, the 10 godly soul powers, 10 animal soul powers. Yeah? Yeah.
It's only when that's specific.
But
when it's Yehudim
with 2 yuds, yeah. Upratis Yeser. Yehudi is also someone who denies the whole Torah, but Yehudim with 2 yuds is that expresses the Yehudi is Indian of Mesiras Nefesh. Yehudi is Mesiras Nefesh. Yehudim is the 20 soul powers. So does Yehudim also denote Mesiras Nefesh? I think so, but let's see. Yisrael was the name of our 3rd patriarch, Yaakov. Difference between Yaakov and Avram Yitzchak is like this. Avram's service of Hashem was with welcome guests, kindness, love. That's why Avram is called the one who loves me. Avram's way of serving God was with love and kindness, and that's what he did. He brought guests into his tent. Yitzchak, on the other hand, his service of Hashem was with reverence. Yaakov said, I had the fear of Yitzchak, meaning that by Yitzchak his way of serving Hashem was with fear, and Yaakov said, I did that. I had the fear of the one who Yitzchak was afraid of. I had the fear of Yitzchak. That means the way Yitzchak connected, the way he absorbed, the way he took godliness was through his reverence, through his gvura. There's a close in the tefillah. In general, davening is associated with this gvura, because when you're davening, you're supposed to be conscious of before whom you're standing. When you think about before whom you're standing, that brings you to have this fear and this nullification before Hashem. As the Gemara says, you're supposed to stand like a servant in front of your master. So reverence for Hashem, when is that expressed? It's expressed especially in davening. So that's Yitzchak. Mordechai Peretz, was macht er?
I'm sorry, late.
Still get an A. Eli, in Yonah Shel Yaakov, however, what's Yaakov's Inyan? Yaakov's Inyan is Torah. So Avram is Chesed, Yitzchak is davening, and because davening, the underlying theme of davening is standing before Hashem, and Yaakov is Torah. There's so many things that some simple, obvious, out-based things that I only learned from hearing the Rebbe say it, like parenthetically. Like I heard a sikha where the Rebbe was talking about people taking pictures of him, and that was fire and brimstone, saying how people are so external. The Rebbe said that the Rebbe Rashab wants pnimius, wants people to be real inside, not just to do things which are just external. And they said photography is it's external of external. It's the most external thing. So a long talk about when it is a good idea, when it's not a good idea. And they was like really ripping into this. I was speaking about taking pictures on Yontif. And I was on Yontif, there's a shaila that take a picture on Yontif in general. And so if someone's taking a picture for the sake of spreading the walls from this outside, so it said, okay, but the Rebbe said, but during davening, the Rebbe said, you're supposed to stand before Hashem, not only in Shemana Esrei, of course in Shemana Esrei, obviously, but the whole davening, you have to Ka'av Kamari. So, right?
I don't know if it's the same one, but I think I saw years ago, crying about the subject.
This was
English.
Right. That was
English.
this was a different time, I think, because I think another time that was cooked for basar v'adam, like a human being. Here they were speaking about this. There was one time by they asked someone who was taking a picture if you learn Tanya, how can you take a picture for Tanya? So someone, I think of Yale learned them chapter Tanya for to take the pictures. There's definitely a point in having pictures of the Rebbe, but the point is that they just said the whole davening you have to be standing before Hashem like a servant from your master. The Gemara says it. The Gemara says it, but they just mentioned it's obvious. So just things, just obvious things that someone knows Neanderthal like myself, like, oh, I didn't know that. Anyways, okay, sorry. And from Arb and Yaakov, this brings every single Jew to receive these three ways of serving Hashem, because Arb and Yaakov are called our forefathers. So Archlias Etzani Insha Avram Nusasana. Yasha Yitzhak Amud Sheni Amud Aveda. Yatfil Shagmak Kmanistiknam. So we receive this from them. We receive Torah, we receive kindness from Avram, we receive the davening from Yitzchak, and we receive Torah from Yaakov. And these are the three pillars that the world stands on. Not just the world stands on as a whole. Not only do these three things support the whole world, but they also support every individual Jew. Every individual small world is supported by these three things. That means that the existence and the core of a Jew is supported by these three pillars. How he acts in these three pillars, that's what gives him his stability. And it is through these three pillars that he receives his life and the life of all life from Hashem. Through Torah study, through performing mitzvahs, especially the mitzvah of tzedakah, which is considered equal to all mitzvahs put together. And that's why in the Talmud, when it says the word mitzvah, Mitzvah means in the Talmud, the mitzvah tzedakah. And tefillah, which tefillah supports both Torah and mitzvahs, because everything in a Jew's life is elevated through his davening. That when a Jew begins to daven, as we learned yesterday, the davening is compared to a ladder. So when you daven, you're elevating yourself from the lowest of the low to the highest of the high. Especially when yesterday was from Esrei, you're asking Hashem directly for all your needs. So you're connecting your basic physical life with the Eibishter. You believe that when Hashem hears you, and you're asking Hashem for what's going on in your life. So that connects your physical life from the arts and the lowest physical things to Hashemayim, that which is beyond heaven, to the Eibishter himself, to the Mori, to the master to who you're praying to. So we receive from Av Britz Yaakov these three areas of the service of Hashem. There many times the Rebbe spoke about how the Welt shakelt sich, the world is shaking. And Rebbe said, the Welt shakelt sich, the world is shaking to strengthen ourselves in the pillars that the world stands on. The Gemara says about Torah study, for example, Hashkim bahar wake up early and stay late and learn Torah, and they will be destroyed by themselves. There was one issue was going on when they were speaking about this, about the enemies of the Jewish people, and they have to wake up early, they'll be destroyed by themselves. So one gentleman told me that they called him Hashkim. Why? Because Hashkim means wake up early, because he would go to all the dormitories with a big boombox, and you would put on in the dormitory this sikha, Hashkim Mahar Malem. So to get all the boys up to, he said he was so successful. Not only did he get all the boys to come to on time to Chassidus in the morning, he even got the teachers to come on time. Anyways, Hashkim, Yosef Libra was called Hashkim. Lachim.
He didn't come to our issue. He was one of the guys at the conference.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing. Come early to shul to learn Torah. It causes protection, causes support to the whole world. That's the real point. So what is the Torah called the Jew? The Torah calls the Jew Yisrael. Our name, as it stems from the Torah, is Yisrael. Rosh Tevis. As an emer, as a sefer stems koyal Torah. Next page, Tilos Adam. Hashadeh Torah nas Tilos Adam. Atam Krin Adam. Shanid me Torah. We call it Torah nas in shamash nas shamash hayish Yisrael. Lachin gam ifn shayad nas achish hachayish and shim Yisrael. Vu kenzi sich upleben. But then skashusham makera ish betera she in practical shishim ribe ish betera kam pam kasha is achas betera in the boy as I come shishim ribe ish betera in the boy. So the way we are called in the Torah is Yisrael. There are 600,000 letters in the Torah, and the Torah says about it 600,000 letters that this is the book of man. This is the book of the chronicles of man, the progeny, the offsprings of man. That means the Torah is what causes man. Jewish people are called man, as it says that the word Adam, it means to be similar. Adam el similar to God. So because Jewish people have a neshama, which is part of Hashem, therefore they're called man. So Toldus Adam, the offspring of man, that means that we are born from the Torah. This is a book, Toldus Adam, that produce not just the offspring of man, but that causes man to be born. This is a book that causes there to be the birth of the Jewish people. What does that mean? That every letter in the Torah produces another soul. And that's why a Jew's vitality, the way he renews his life force, is where can you be rejuvenated? Is through your connection to Torah, through your connection to your source, through your letter in the Torah. That this letter in the Torah is the source of your life force. Every Jew has a letter in the Torah, and that's where you get your life force from. The Torah is what produces. Is a source of where your neshama is getting its highest from in your body. There is also, so this talks about the source of the neshama above Torah as well, but the way the reason why it's one of the reasons we spoke about how it's important that every person has a letter in the Torah, to purchase letter in the Torah, is because our chayas, our life force comes from the Torah. So by purchasing a letter in the Torah, it causes protection to those, as it says in the Megillah. Actually, it says in the Megillah when describing the decrees against the Jewish people and how they're saved, it says that all those who are in the book will be saved. So every said the book is referring to the book of Torah, that by having learned the Torah, it causes protection to you. Why does it cause protection? Because your life force comes from Torah, comes from the letter in the Torah. By connecting yourself to the letter in the Torah, you're getting where you get rejuvenated from that connection. Mind your own business. This is the response to those who say when you speak to some Jews about Judaism, their response is mind your own business. Those are Latin words. You've probably never heard them before. Mind, you see this in the Yiddish, mind your own business. You want to be from Gesundheit hate. How can you mix into my life to give me your opinions about my life? So it's not about, saying it's not when someone gives you offers Yiddishkeit to you, they're not giving you advice about you. They're giving you that it's something which is pertinent to my life. My life. Why my life? In order that my life should be luminous the way it's supposed to be, as a kosher Sefer Torah, all 600,000 letters need to be kosher. In order for my life to be kosher, my life to be luminous, you have to connect it to Torah because we're all one Torah. If one letter wants to be not the way it's supposed to be, that affects all the 600,000 letters. So we talk to a Jew about keeping Torah mitzvahs. It's not about him; it's about me. So it's not mind your own business. It's something which affects my life. That's why our Rebbeim put such effort into spreading Judaism.
Just to compare it to in the early days of the computer, when you look for an address, if you missed one letter, if it sent you anywhere, it sent you somewhere else. I mean, nowadays it gives you suggestions and so on. Like this Rabbi Gomer, comparing it to just put one wrong letter.
Right.
Off.
Right.
So imagine in Torah, if you put one letter, wrong letter.
The whole Torah is not kosher. So if I'm speaking to a Jew about Torah mitzvahs and he says mind your own business, right. It is my business. Why is it my business? Because I'm affected by his Yiddishkeit, his Torah mitzvahs. Right. We're all the same Torah. Why were there our Rebbeim so into spreading Judaism? Everyone knows themselves that there's a lot they have to work on themselves. So why should I go travel far away and have a serious nefesh to travel and to give up my time and energy to go affect someone else? I got a lot of work to do myself. Because the truth is, your efforts with someone else is really an effort in yourself. Your own self-improvement includes helping someone else become better, because you can only be perfected, you can only be the way you're supposed to be by helping another person. Rabbi Gordon from Australia, Rabbi what's his first name? Melbourne. Rabbi Yossi Gordon from Melbourne. He wrote the Rebbe about something he wanted to fix up in his neshama, some issue that he did, some mistake that he made. And Rebbe said, fulfilling your shlichus, fulfilling your mission to Australia, that's a tikkun for every single thing in that's going on. So Rebbe explained why, but here Rebbe says why, because we're all one Torah. So helping another person is really helping yourself. Okay, but you still need to make sure that your word is going to be received by the other guy. How can you make sure that the other guy wants to hear what you have to say, or that your word should be received by the other person? You know, like in Crown Heights, they have like the bell for Shabbos, the 18-minute warning. Everybody was delivering the Malchus. Like, the only way to influence another person is by talking from your heart. You can't just try to fulfill your obligation. There is a chachmala. A chachmala means an obnoxious excuse that the Yetzer Hara, the old and foolish king, tells a Jew to do. He says, listen, that's in the Talmud. There's a mitzvah, everyone has an obligation to inspire another person. You have to rebuke another person. You're supposed to inspire and share with another person. Everyone has that obligation. If you saw the Living Torah this week, it says it's not just for the rabbi, it's not just the mashpiyim. Every single Jew has this obligation. But it says over there, how far should you go? You should go until the guy curses you out. Until the guy says, I know what the Yetzer Hara says. So speak to the guy very sharply. He'll immediately curse you out, and he'll throw you out, and you did your obligation. So that's obviously not the that's not the goal. You have to speak. So the Yetzer Hara. That on your wife. I fulfill my obligation. I don't remember where I heard this, but I know there was a guy who he went somewhere in a shlichus. They were sent him somewhere, and he didn't want to go, and never sent him. And I think he told the Rebbe it's not going to work, and he I don't know if he remarked or somehow it came up and it didn't work. And the Rebbe's response was that you went there with the idea that it's not going to work, and that's how you went, and therefore it didn't work. So in a similar way, if you go there and you're trying to get thrown out, you will get thrown out. But if it matters to you, the other person should listen because it's your life, not just theirs. So then you speak from your heart, and then you'll be able to influence them. So this is not something that he could say, it's my personal life, it's not nothing to do with you. And it's not something that you could say, well, let me first work on myself. You can't say, let me first work on myself. And he can say, it's my personal business. You cannot be complete in yourself if you're able to influence someone else and you haven't. That's your Sefer Torah. Someone says, all I have is Torah, they don't have Torah either. It means if someone says, all I have is Torah, I don't need to do kindness, I don't need to daven, all I do is study Torah. The Gemara says, if you only do Torah without other things, you're not getting, even the Torah you're not getting. Torah needs other things also. Torah needs to have kindness, Torah needs to have daven. The study of Torah has to bring to action. So what does that have to do in the context of the conversation that we're talking about spreading Judaism? Where does action need to happen? It's not only when you're in shul and you're davening Shemona Esrei. It's not only when you're in yeshiva and studying Torah. You also have to influence. You have to also have an impact on the matters of this world, which are connected to the 6 days of the week. Let me just paraphrase in the Hebrew. In order to impact the world, it's specifically when you go out to the world with the perspective that if I need to give my life, I'll give my life. But if you go out to the world with this condition, with this idea that I'm only going out to the world if the world will listen to me and the world will obey me, and if not, I'm going to be upset and I'm going to go run back home to my shul or to my yeshiva, then you won't be able to affect the world. If you're going out to the world with the perspective, I'm going to go all the way, I'm going to give my life to make sure this happens, so then you'll be able to affect the world. But if you're going out to the world with this preconceived condition, I'm going to try. If they listen, I'll stay. If not, as every single shliach who's gone out to spread Judaism knows, if they would do a survey of people in the city, what do you guys think about bringing Chabad to your city? So in the majority of cases, except for larger cities that have some Yidden, which has a little bit of frumkeit or something, it nowadays the world's different already. But people have heard about it. To the extent people have heard about it, I don't know if you saw last week. Someone posted about that the Israeli consulate give a message to the Israeli Arabs who are in Ukraine. If you need help, go to Chabad. And they had a whole talk show discussing, is it fair to the Arabs? How the Arabs supposed to know? The Jews, of course, know what Chabad is. That's what the Israeli not religious talk show host is saying. But the Arabs, it's not fair to the Arabs. Someone has to explain to them what the guy means. And constantly saying this word, they don't know what they're talking about. Anyways, so you can't go out with a perspective, if the world will listen to me, I'm going to go. If the world's not going to listen to me, I'm not going to go. You have to go with Mesiras Nefesh. And that's why the Torah says 6 days you should work. As Alter explains in Torah, Parshas Mishpatim, the word work means the word Aveda is related to Eretz Avudim. Eretz Avudim means refine animal hides. That in order to refine an animal hide, there needs to be a real effort. In order to make an animal hide to become a shoe something the person can wear, it needs a lot of wear, not a lot of effort. A similar way to make this animal hide fitting to write a sefer Torah on, to use for tefillin, there needs to be the avodah of the 6 days. It needs to be the avodah of the 6 millennia. So in other words, in order to make an impact in the world, it doesn't just happen automatically. You have to invest yourself. And the person says, well, what kind of idea is this? It would be better to sit in the shul my whole life without any challenges and much easier. So the Rebbe says, so the person is told, this is the will of Hashem. Your neshama did not descend to this world to fix itself. Rather, it came to this world to fix your animal soul and your body. And the whole reason you're here is to fix the world. So the world should be a home for Hashem. The Gemara says, Al korcha chatachai, against your will you live. You have to do this as a Jew with Mesiras Nefesh. This is the meaning of the Baal Shem Tov's teaching about the word Yehudim, the 2 Yuds, that refers to the 10 soul powers of the godly soul, 10 soul powers of the animal soul. That when you go out to the world with this sense of sacrifice, according to Torah, not only does your godly soul fulfill the will of Hashem, but also the 10 powers of your animal soul also act like a Jew, until you cause that many of the not Gentiles want to become Jewish, meaning that you cause that things of this world are also converted, also are become influenced and inspired to and change and elevate. So okay, so I think what the last point is the idea of Yehudim. There is a letter where the Rebbe writes that to the Shluchim, that they have to invest themselves in their mission, not just with the 10 soul powers of the godly soul, but also with their animal soul. And I think what that means is that you have to decide that this is something that you really want, not just that your neshama wants, but that you as a human being want to do this. And then idealism breeds ingenuity. When you really want to do this and you're interested in it, so then your whole self is invested in this. So Yehudim is written with 2 Yuds, the 10 kochas, 10 godly soul powers and 10 animal soul powers, that when your approach is with Mesiras Nefesh, you have to make a difference. So then that transforms your whole being to not just your godly soul, but maybe, I'm not sure, but maybe that was referring to is, it says when a person encounters a challenge of Mesiras Nefesh, it says in the Kunshas Aveda, their whole being is changed. They may not become all of a sudden frum, but just the challenge of Mesiras Nefesh transforms you completely. It could be they were saying is when you approach your mission with Mesiras Nefesh, that affects all of your godly soul's energies and also your animal soul's energies. When your approach of Mesiras Nefesh, this has to happen. It puts you in a different place, and so therefore your influence is real and impactful. Chaim. Questions, comments? Ameyaretz. Rabbi Meyaretz B'Siadim.
Not the nations.
Ameyaretz B'Siadim become Jewish. Many non-Jews became Jewish.
Not Ameyaretz.
Rabbi Meyaretz, many of the nations of the world.
Not Ameyaretz.
Not Ameyaretz. Not Jews.
Other 2 is better than other 1.
Other in Yiddish means either or. Other. Some people this other, some people that, but definitely other 2 is definitely better.